Hey everybody, we're live. Happy Sunday. It is Lip Service with Lisa and Shareece, and we're so excited that you're with us today. We have a wonderful, very special guest on the show today, Miss Mervetta Shaw. She goes by Coach Vette. And let me tell you something, we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic that me and Shareece talk about a lot is dating during pandemic. And I'm sure we're going to get into some other things as well. But I want to start the show just saying hello to everyone. And how's everybody doing in the midst of this pandemic? How y'all doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Like I said, I've been keeping busy, doing some crazy stuff, painting and trying to just, you know, make my craft a little better. So I've been going to some classes online at the good University of YouTube, and yeah, just trying to keep myself sane and in the house.
Well, you look amazing, and that picture behind you looks amazing. Can people purchase your paintings?
Huh?
Can people purchase your paintings?
Yes, they can. Yes, if they would like to, absolutely.
Okay,
But I
okay.
don't advertise or anything. I'm just trying to better my craft. So as I learn, I just keep painting and painting. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all these pictures. I don't have enough walls. I got about 30, 40 pictures over here at the house, and yeah, they don't have no rhyme or reason as
Oh,
to
wow.
how I got them just hanging up. But some of them are so big, I don't want to just have them sitting on the floor. Like I think this one is a 48 by 48.
Wow.
The other one is a 24. This brown one is a 24 by 48. So that gray and black one is a 24 by 48. So they're pretty big. But I'm just trying to, keep busy, keep sane, and this brings me peace and
Yeah.
solitude. So,
Mhm.
what about you, Coach Vet? I know you staying busy.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was moving around. I was looking. I was trying to see something. I have been busy. Hello, everybody. My name is Mervetta Shaw, known as Coach Vet all over the world and all over the internet. I am the mother of one handsome son, three beautiful grandgirls. I'm good at what I do, and I get better every day. And if you don't believe me, just watch me. And so, yes, I have been keeping busy, a little bit of traveling, a little bit of quarantining, making, I do a lot of crafting, and I have run a t-shirt business, a t-shirt school. So I've been doing that. About to have a new class starting next week in the t-shirt school, and then getting out all of the custom orders that I do. So I've been pretty busy.
So when you say t-shirt school, that's like screen printing. What is that?
Well, actually, I don't teach screen printing. What I do is I teach you how to start a t-shirt business with no money. And
Okay.
from there, from that initial course, I try to guide you and help you get focused in one direction, and then that way you can take off, because some people start wanting to make t-shirts but they don't realize that it may be another craft or purpose that they have, or a skill set. Like Shareece does pictures, but that's not where she started with, just pictures. She's skilled in so many other things. Pictures is just adding on to it. So the t-shirt school starts at t-shirts, but we add on to it.
Okay,
I
that's
need to
awesome.
sign up for that class. I like putting the lettering on my paintings. So like I do some inspired ones for Dallas Cowboys, Houston Texans, whatever the case may be, the Greek organization, stuff like that. So I'm sure it's some of the same technique, just different paper per se. So I
Mhm.
definitely will sign up for that class next week. What time to start? Not in the morning,
Well,
right?
we have a whole itinerary, so we'll go over that. We want to make sure, because it ain't gonna be no. I get to redo the class. I know we ain't got that kind of time. It's not like the first, second, or the third class.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
Okay.
Coach
That
Vet,
was for me.
so
yeah,
Coach
that was
Vet,
for you.
tell us a little bit about how you got into being a life coach.
Okay, so here is the thing. I didn't really want to be a life coach, but I'm kind of like the friend that everybody calls for advice and so on and so forth. And, people at work, I used to be an excellent customer service representative working for the good folks. And so you have all the girls that come to your cubicle and different things like that. So it just started there. And then we said, well, we should turn this into a money-making entity. And so we've gone to that level. And then I realized that in doing all of this, it's very hard to talk to adult women and men and convince them that they're worth more, that they're not defined by their past, that there's still purpose on the inside of them if they're alive. God is not done with them yet. It's very hard to do that. And in this year, after taking a trip in February to a great church in Oklahoma, Transformation Church, God had already been working with me for the past few months. He allowed me to see my purpose, and that's to coach the youth. So right now I'm actually transitioning my adult coaching program to be working with the youth as we're in this quarantine and coming out of this pandemic, whatever the demic we're in.
Okay, that's awesome, because I agree with you. Sometimes adults, it's difficult to learn new things once you pass a certain age, because you kind of set and you feel like, well, I got this far, this long, I'm doing all right, I'm doing something right.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that youth definitely need to be coached. I mean, we all need some coaching. What would you tell people are some of the things they need to look for when they are looking for a life coach?
You want to make sure the one thing is your life coach can't really be your friend if you don't respect what they're going to say to you and not take it personal because they know you personally. So you have to, that's the first thing, you have to be able to differentiate the two. And then the thing is make sure that they have some type of curriculum, because a coach is not a therapist. They need to have some type of exercise that's going to fit your need. Like I can't have an exercise for married couple and give it to single people. And so, they have to be able to, there are different coaches. So you need to make sure that that coach is skilled in your niche. So a single father really shouldn't be going to a coach to be coached by someone who's actually never had kids, or who's in a 2-family home. He may need a coach that can understand that he's a single father. So if a single mother may be able to coach a single father, because she would be able to teach him, this is your next play for meal prepping. This is your next play for dealing with this and this, or, dealing with dating. So you want to make sure that's the first thing, is that coach is geared towards you. And that you share the same beliefs, because there are some coaches that are spiritual. There are some coaches that can coach you and correlate it back to the word of God. There are some coaches now that, they do stars and stripes and moons and green clovers and blue diamonds and stuff. So you got to make sure that your coach, is in line with you in that way, because some things could be lost in translation as well.
Well, I think that's a big point that you made there, because I've always felt that way about pastors and ministers. I really have. Mm-hmm. I've always felt like, how can a pastor or a minister who's not married and don't have children really tell you how to deal with your marriage and your children? I've always had a problem with that. But I know people feel like, well, they're led by the Spirit. So what if a life coach is saying the same thing?
Well, each person is different. Some people like to take a chance on something different. If you're set in your ways and so on and so forth, then you may not want to be a person. I'll use this as a great example. A lot of people who always say, "What's your sign? You're a Libra." Yes, I am. Then some people like, "I don't go off of astrology." So you don't want a coach that is deep down into astrology and they can tell you everything about the Cancer, the Capricorn, when you know that you don't believe in it, because a lot of their thinking about you is going to be based off of the zodiac sign that you have. So, my thing, I'll just be candid. I give Cancers a very hard time. And so there are a lot of traits of a Cancer. There are a lot of traits of a Scorpio. And those are two. But if you are a person who does not believe in astrology, then you probably shouldn't get you a coach that's deep in astrology, because if you are Cancer and I'm working with you, I'm not deep into astrology, but I'm going to be saying, you're lying, Cancers. You know, but I'm gonna base some of that thought, on that. So it's just it's one of those things. I'm not deep into astrology, but we just as people, human nature, we have a tendency to operate that way.
Yeah, because we all know about them Cancers and them Geminis, but that's for another day. But okay, so let's get into the topic of dating during a pandemic. Oh my God. Shareece, I know we've been talking about this, and you had a pretty good experience.
Yeah, it was a one-nighter, but it was good.
Wait,
Okay,
it didn't sound too good, did it?
it's all right. It's all right.
I did. We had some conversations over the phone. We had chit-chatted a while, and we said, well, let's meet up. We wasn't for sure. The restaurants and stuff had just started back opening up, and he wasn't for sure if Papa's over there off of 610 was open, and they were just open for pickup only. So we went, had dinner out on a parking lot. He had a table and chairs, and we had good conversation. It flowed, but I realized that we weren't going to be a per se match, but we could be good friends.
So what made you think you weren't going to be a match? Did you could just tell about a conversation, or you weren't attracted to him, or okay, the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, what do you mean? Like, tell us a little bit more. Was the conversation not enough, or too much, or
he's a soulful person. He's from I don't want to. He's from.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
He's just different from me. That's all I'm gonna say. And he's kind of stuck back in some days that I'm not there. So he was talking, and his way of logic and thinking just wasn't compatible with the way I think. And so we weren't a good match.
I mean, so Coach Red, what is your take on it? Dating during the pandemic. Do you think should people wait till it's all over and done with and just, focus on getting our lives together? Or should we continue to date?
Well, I'm gonna say let me get all of this out of me real quick. Okay. All right. So I believe that I can't personally really meet anyone new in the pandemic. Because all of that talking on the telephone and, hee ha ha, and not being able to sit down in person, you can begin to develop feelings like a blind date to certain things. With the streets opening up, and we able to, move around and stuff, partially, I could see possibly meeting somebody and then meeting out, but how y'all hollering behind these masks? This is my question. See, I can't get past I can't see who you are when you try to holler, hey, little mama, I don't know what's up under there. And so we social distancing and we put numbers in the phone. And then when I meet you, like ain't none of this right in here in this region, behind the mask. So that's the first thing. That's like I haven't met anybody new in the pandemic. So, for people who are still trying to, I met someone right before the pandemic started, and just kind of like, hey, hello. And when I met him, it was like I knew, but they be telling me, you got to try, what's your type, you all of that kind of stuff. And so we talked on the phone a while, and he kept like, come by here. I was like, man, we in a pandemic. I don't know you. I ain't finna come over your house. I don't know you. I ain't finna come over your house. And so. But he showed me really quickly that if you can't be available for a person, you can't see somebody in the pandemic, then it's not a lot that you can do. You can't really get to know each other. And most people that are meeting, you would think that they are trying to meet you with purpose. But they still just trying to meet and, well, let me come over your house. No, I got that sterilize and sanitize you and all that kind of stuff. So, no.
Well, I think that's no different from not being a pandemic. They always trying to do that.
Yeah.
That's always the first move. Why don't you cook me dinner? I'll cook you dinner. I'll come over your house. Even before the pandemic. So for me, I don't really see a difference with guys right now.
Mhm.
The main difference is the fact that I won't waver in time limits on getting to know you. Okay, I need to know you because during the pandemic, I'm not going to waste my time going out to meet you and we got to socially distance, we got to have on masks and all that if I don't know I like you already.
Right.
For
Right.
me, we need to talk on the phone a little bit. I need to know a little bit more about you and not just talking about, oh, you so pretty. And oh, I couldn't wait to get over there. You need a man to
Right.
hold you at night. All this mess. Talk to me about something of substance so that I know whether or not you even worth my time.
Right.
Where you want to be in 5 years?
Yes.
What are you looking for?
Yes. What are your strengths and weaknesses? I asked this one guy, do you believe in love languages? He said, I understand. Yeah, I believe everybody need love. I said, well, are you familiar with love languages? I believe in it. I was like, boy,
And no, we don't know what he's talking about.
Google it. So for me, I think I like the pandemic situation being here because I'm always the type of person that I want to know you from a distance first anyway, even before the pandemic. But people so quick to want to take you out. Well, I have an excuse now. It's a pandemic. So now we got to know each other from a distance for a little bit of time.
Hmm.
I will say this. I want to ask both of y'all this. Have you noticed that people are more flirty, more, speaking to you and stuff? I do notice it, but have you noticed it? And do you think it's because people are lonely?
I'm not. I don't have more flirting going on in my life. I'm usually. I mean, like my life is already quarantine pandemic like. Because I don't like a lot of people around me anyway. So I'm very selective, with that. So I haven't had anybody per se, like what's up, how you doing? I haven't had any hey big head messages. My people are consistent.
Even online though, because I have had so many inbox messages and even exes. I think almost every one of my exes, except for the ones that's married, I don't want to get nobody in trouble. But the exes have all reached out. And I'm like, what is going on? Y'all lonely? Y'all quarantined. So now all of a sudden you think back on the past and
Times life is too short, and I showed. I mean, I haven't. My stuff is consistent. Oh, I haven't. I'm sorry, that's just funny to me because I tell people all the time, like I don't get a lot of hollers, and like once a year, I seriously consider dating, and this is the time that I usually like seriously start, consider dating. Evaluating my life because we Libras. So going into Libra season, I don't do an account of my life at the beginning. I do an account day to day, but as my birthday approaches, it's like, okay, do you want to date? Do you not want it? So that's one of those things where I'm seriously considering it. But in the pandemic, it's really hard because you standoffish, you distant. It's safe. It's really safe right now because I don't have to deal with the foolishness that comes along with the playing of the games. Because if you meet somebody, it's like, well, who you stay with? Oh, I live with my sister. My mama. It's a lot of that. And then you on this telephone, you doing all of this talking. Y'all say perfect example. It's almost like talking to somebody who in jail. And you got to figure out if it's love after lockup because. That's another thing because it's like being in a blind date, and then if you working, what are you doing? Then it's like I have less time to talk and try to date because I got to go to sleep. I gotta make stuff, do stuff, trying to keep the money going in the pandemic. So that's a big thing, and being an entrepreneur, speaking, talking to people. A lot of people have their hands on you. that's gonna play a part in the dating. So it's really tough. But I ain't had no lot of hollers. I get a lot of, oh, your dress is pretty compliments, but nobody like, well, let me get your number. Let me try to talk to you or connect with you. And that a lot of times they say I act like I'm already married. I don't know what that's about, but I've heard a lot of people say, I didn't know you were single. I thought you was married. Ain't no man.
Yeah, I get that a lot too, but that don't stop them from trying for whatever reason. I just get so annoyed with why, if you thought I was married, well then why did you say
Now I'm
anything?
insulted.
Yeah, but the main thing I hate though is why you single. And speak on that a little bit, because I hate the fact that some men think it's something wrong with you if you're single. Because they say that all the time. Why you single?
Oh no. Try being single and no kids.
Mm.
Yeah, I get that all the time. So what's wrong with you? Nothing. I know what I want.
I know that's right.
Plain and
Yeah.
simple. I didn't want kids, so I didn't have any. And I ain't like nobody enough to have none of their kids.
Shareece.
I would have been that crazy baby mama if you wouldn't have done right by my child. So therefore, to prevent me from having to go to jail, I ain't had none.
See, I think that's very interesting, because I read an article that says statistically women are choosing in higher numbers to not have children. Now, I can respect it because it's a lifelong commitment. I mean, it is a lifetime commitment. Whether you a single parent or you're a double parent household, you still got to be committed to the children your whole life. So I can respect that. But I don't like the fact that people feel like it's something wrong because you don't have any children. And I hate when they feel like, oh, why you single? What's wrong with you? I don't know why people can't understand you single by choice. You don't have any children by choice.
Right. And I throw the question back to them. Well, why are you single? What's wrong with you?
Yes.
Why you got so many
kids? You all aggressive. No, I only ask the same question that you asked me. There's nothing wrong. I chose my choices and that's it. You can't make me feel bad or try to shame me because I'm single and I didn't want to have kids. That's crazy. I get men and women, because women be like, you need to at least have one. No, I don't.
Well, see, them the main ones who don't want the ones they got. So believe that. They just
That
saying
part.
they're trying to make you feel some type of way, but they know if they was bold and strong enough to make that choice, they might have made it too.
Baby, I live by the law. 2 condoms and some duct tape.
Okay.
Well,
Two.
yeah, all right then.
You know what's funny is because my mom was a flight attendant and my dad was a truck driver.
Uh-huh.
So I said I was born to roll.
Okay.
How many people can say that? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm ready to go. When? Where? My bags are packed. I stay ready, so I ain't got to get ready. So I'm
Oh, point, because we 24 ready. Oh, okay.
24/7.
Well, for me, I feel like dating is always difficult past 40. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I think when you get past a certain age, especially for women, because we are much more sure about what we want and much less willing to settle for what we don't want.
Oh,
So
definitely.
where men will feel like, I can get somebody for right now until I find the right somebody. I think we're more tendency to say, I'm not going to get no right now, man. I'm going to wait to the right man because I don't want to be bothered.
And I'm gonna be peaceful. That is so true. There are so many people who will settle because they fall into the time is running out mode. And whose timeline are you on? We don't have we have chronological order that has been taught to us, but that does not necessarily mean that that's the order of everybody's life. Go to school, graduate, go to college, from college, get a job, get from college, marry your college girlfriend, have a baby, get in a house. That's what society says. So we're not running out of time. Your timing is just right. And as women, we have a list that we need to turn up and get us one of these books right here that I got on my desk. We have a list. And so on this list, our list usually is tall. For some reason, and our idea of tall is usually 6 feet. And I'm talking to all the women that are 5'2", 5'3", 5'1", 4'9", and 11. Because we always talking about he ain't tall enough. Everybody taller than you. You're 5'3", okay?
Right.
Be taller than you, but so that's usually our list. He got to have a good job. He got to have his own car. He got to have his own house. Now this is usually what's on our list, but what we usually end up with is somebody with somebody else's house. Well, see, Tyrone was the friend. Everybody was mad at Tyrone. She told him to come get Tyrone to help him get his stuff because she knew that Paul James was no good. They didn't have no. They was his cousins, and she was paying for their drinks. So that's why Tyrone had to come so he could help him. Tyrone had the truck. Y'all didn't catch on to that. But we usually meet guys that don't have any of those. They may have one thing on the list. He might have a job, not a good job, but just a job. He can live. I live with my sister, but we meet that guy, and because he fills the void, we begin to settle. And your list of 10, you only got 2 because one of them was, I'm sure, good sex. And so, whichever sexual thing it was, it got to be the whole package. But one of them things usually falls under good sex. And so we begin to settle for that person, and then we end up with I ain't want to be alone, and then we start with I didn't put too much time into him. Girl, it's been 6 months. You can not worry about what your friends said at the beginning. You knew he was a bum. They told you he was a bum. Walk away. I've been with him 5 years. I wasted too much time. Yeah, you wasted too much time, but you also have a teenage son that you're trying to get through the rest of his high school years, and now he's interfering with this. What is the problem? So, in dating, we get to that 40-year-old range because now our kids is getting ready to leave the house, or we, trying to figure this out. Then somebody then told you get ready to go through menopause. Then, somebody else said if you don't lose it, you gonna use it. Then you went to the church house and they told you don't have sex until you get married, but they didn't tell you why. And then now you sitting over here saying my thing got cobwebs. All of that is happening in an area of it. And so, we settle for somebody dating, we rush to get married, and we haven't even asked the correct questions when it comes to being married. And so this pastor had wrote this book called Relationship Goals. Let's plug him. Me and Shareece took a trip to go to this church. But this book right here, I stopped reading it because he made, when I got to right here, and I'm saying, what page is that? It's a little like 53. I stopped because he made me really start thinking, about some things in dating. And so, this is just for anybody who's listening, man or woman, at 40 is not a time where you could be settling. 40 is a time where you can realize that you have options and you have choices because you've already been through all of those mistakes. And if you haven't been through them, think about the mistakes that your friend went through, because that's a road that you don't have to travel. Learn the lesson that they learned. And if you don't like the lesson that they learned, don't go try to reinvent the book. Find somebody else. They've been through it. But you don't have to settle for the man who has 5 children, 4 baby mamas, and the smallest one is, 18 months. Like, you don't have to settle for him to try to build him up. Because you want to help, you want to build a Bob project, Bob the Builder at home. You want to be able to say, I helped him get on his feet. But we don't have to do it. And for whoever is listening, even in a woman, she got good potential. We understand that, but it's all of the baggage that comes along with that person. Work you settling, you in your 40s and you got 10 years left on your house. Why you gonna bring somebody in that can't help you do your home improvements? If you got 10 years left on your house, you've been there. Now it's time for some upgrades, and you gonna bring somebody in that won't even, put the new ceiling fans up, or hang up your little blinds or put your curtains in. Like we are able to have. I'm just saying this, ladies. Choices, gentlemen. You got choices. Okay, I'm gonna stop because I start doing the sermon.
No, I really love that what you said, because I believe in that. I believe in that. When people ask me what is one thing Black women have a lot of, and I say options. We may not think we do, but we do. We have lots of options. So I want to touch on something that you said, because I think that's a big deal that people don't really look into is What are you actually looking for? Not what's available. Because sometimes people settle for what's available. But
Uh,
you have what you need to know is what are you actually looking for. So it's two things that you brought up that I wanted to touch on. One is um, feeling like you put too much time into a person, and so I don't want to let this go because I put so much time into it. My thing is this: everything is a lesson. If you learn something in that time, you got something out of it. That's like a college degree. If you spend 4 years with that person, you learn. You got your degree and what not to do next time. So
BSology.
yes, so go on and graduate and let him go. That's my thing. And then the other thing that you brought up, I see this a lot, and it's the reason why I don't partake in this. I see this a lot with other women worrying about what their friends think. See, me, I don't care because I know ain't nobody got to sleep with that booger bear but me if I choose him. So I'm
Okay.
not worried about what my friends think. I have had situations where now I don't really deal with the deadbeats. So I've had situations where my friends were not on my side because they felt like this man got a good job. He got this beautiful house with the pool. He got all this money, and you don't want to be bothered with him. You just ungrateful. You just picky. You can't be pleased. But my thing is, I know what I need. Regardless of all the job and the money and everything that he may have, if he is not supportive of me, he ain't for me.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Because just
Okay.
like men in those other categories, they have their bad things. Those men in that category, they got those bad things too. You
Right.
know, men that got it all going on, they feel like you ought to worship them. They feel like you ought to worship the ground they walk on. You should
Right.
be grateful and you should feel privileged to have them. So that's another challenge in dating, period.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think too, men try to take advantage of this time per se because then they can have they figure they can have the cream of the crop. They can especially the ones that are not necessarily working right now, they're furloughed. So they own 5, 6, 7 different sites and they talking to, 8, 9, 10 different women and trying to pick which one will or which one will not.
Right.
Uh and um so we had, but if you talk to somebody long enough, they'll reveal who they actually are. You know
Yes.
what I'm saying? So it's like, uh, do I really want to be bothered with that person or not? And I'm just gonna piggyback off of Mervetta. I have been saying for the longest time that I was going to start reading my book as well, my copy of Relationship Goals. When I tell you this man is so off the chain, yeah, I just be sitting there and I have to sometimes I have to read that whole paragraph over like twice, sometimes 3 times, just to kind of sit and marinate and let it soak in. Taking my notes because I'm seeing some of the things that he's talking about in myself. So I
Mm,
feel like this is not only the time to, and I keep saying recreate yourself, you know, your business, your job, your personal, whatever the case may be, this is the time to better yourself. So when this pandemic is over with, your situation can be so much better.
yeah.
So I'm not in search of trying to be booed up right now. Now, if it come, hello,
Hey,
Right.
boo.
if it come, I'm not gonna shy at all. But this time around, the criteria is gonna be a little different.
So
So I,
elaborate on that. What you mean by the criteria is going to be different? What's the main criteria now that's different from before?
I think now again, 50 plus. So I just need to know like where are you at in your life? What do you want out of your life? What do you want out of this relationship? Where are you looking for it to go? Are you just talking to me just to be talking to me, or are you talking to me to try to be in my bed 2 weeks later, a month later, or whatever the case? Or are you trying to actually take this further to the next step that would be a wife?
Right.
So the questions are a whole lot different now. And, once you see your worth and what you can bring to the table, I'm working on credit. I'm working on my weight. I'm working on my relationship with myself. I
Right.
love myself enough, but I love myself more since I've been reading this book. And I watch almost all of his videos when I'm not in school online.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so I just see things a little different in dating, and I hear the conversations like if your conversation, like you said before, is all about well, what you doing, when can I come over, what you can do for me, oh I want to give you a massage. I'm finna nip all of that in the bud real quick in like 2.2 seconds. And
Yes, I
I'm putting
think.
you on Dana's list. Do not answer.
Right. I think that was the biggest problem for me with this one guy. I told him, I already know I'm pretty. Okay. I've been
Right.
this way my whole life. You ain't telling me something I don't know. What
Absolutely.
else can we talk about? How many times you gotta tell somebody they pretty? Well, you
Right.
just can appreciate a man loving you for the way you look. I said, but who else can you love for the way they look? The world full of pretty women. What that mean?
Right. Right.
He-
Or you got a
Hell
big butt. This butt was big all my life. I know it's big. I dress it every day.
Yes, and you know what I think men have to understand because girls are different than boys. We as women been hearing that since we was about, for me, 9 and 10 years old. Or the way I'm shaped, the way I look. I've been hearing that my whole life. So sometimes that gets old. You do not want to hear that all up in your
Sometimes it
40s.
gets old. I said
Yes.
sometimes it gets old.
Yes. When you done heard that from elementary school, middle school, high school, college, your first early career days, you don't want to hear that all in your 40s, especially all on the phone an hour, and that's the only thing you can talk about is my appearance. It's very
Right.
annoying. And I
Right.
don't think men understand why it's annoying because this particular person asked me, we had a whole conversation about it. He said, but why are you so mad about it? Maybe you don't know, maybe you don't feel like you're pretty, maybe you don't love yourself. I said, baby, trust me, I love myself. I'm trying to get you to understand. I already know these things. I'm the
Right.
one who looks at myself every day. The point of it is, what else is there that you like about me?
Right.
He couldn't answer that.
What do you want to try to get to know about me?
I mean,
Take
because
the time out.
if there's nothing else that you like, then you have to try to get to know something that you could like.
Right.
He couldn't even answer what else do you like. And I was like, well, then this ain't for you. I'm not for you. Because you're not even trying to know anything else about me.
Right.
The thing with that is most men don't most people, I'm not gonna just say most men, because if a man is interested in you, he in the way that you want him to be interested in you, which is a lot of times like a lot of times men aren't dating with the purpose of being married. Some aren't, but they aren't because sex is so easy to get these days. It's socialized. It used to be a prize or something you worked your way up to. Now it's like we lead off with that, and we're not supposed to be offended when you do. You're so pretty, good morning, beautiful is a wonderful thing. Well, I'm cute in the afternoon, say hi to me then.
Okay.
I'm cute at night. Say, goodbye to me, say good night, beautiful. Don't just say
Yes.
beautiful. Let me go to sleep with a beautiful thought. Because you saying good morning, beautiful. What if I'm not a morning person? I'm a
Right.
morning person. What if I'm not a morning person? So, people like, women are so hard to please. No, but if you're doing the same thing, the same way it would be what a man would say, I'm tired of getting the same old every day when I come home. You don't think that women get tired of repetition as well? So you can't have it one way and, not the other. I want to go to what you said about what friends think. Um,
Yes.
Unfortunately, I was just out today, and well, not unfortunately, I was out today, but unfortunately, I was out today, and I was talking, and one of the things I said was, you base a lot of your life off of rap songs, and
Mm.
well, if you're gonna roll with me, you're gonna have to get what come out. And so the person said, that's what you think of me. I said, no, but if you think about what some of the things that you say or do, you living your life like they do in rap songs. And, we kind of, touched on it. And that has a lot to do with what your friends think, because society nowadays are listening to what they saying in the songs. And if you're not living up to the standards of the song, then that's what they're basing it off of. But they don't tell you what happened on the flip side. So I don't know the rap songs, but let's just say, in a rap song, the chick like, he gotta buy me a Birkin bag. And so somebody else is saying, you gotta buy me, if he can't get me a Birkin bag. Now somebody that don't know you really believe, because they looking at you and, on the internet, you really the SHIT to them. They don't know that you really didn't get that Birkin bag. They don't know that the Birkin bag you got may have been a knockoff. And when you were saying he gotta buy me a Birkin bag, some people don't even know how much the bag costs. And so they really paid no attention to it. But even if you say he got, when they say we popping Cristal, like the average woman with bills to pay, like, don't buy me no Cristal, don't pop that wham down one of them bottles. We trying to build something here. Go get me some Andre champagne, and we're gonna put some Tropicana orange juice in it and make the most. I'm really being honest. And so people, you thinking that you got to do this to show somebody else, and you don't really have to do that. And so it's a lot of people who date people and their friends was like, he was a dog. I told you he was a dog. He ain't no good. I told you he was no good. And so you date this man, you stay with this man, or even your boys like, dog, I told you she was for everybody. They all that ran through her. And you like, yeah, but she ain't like that. And she cheat on you. Do you stay? Most men don't. But in a woman's situation, he cheat on you, you still gonna stay, because you steady trying to prove to them that they were wrong about him. And in actuality, you can just save yourself some time, learn from it, and don't ignore the red flags because you were afraid of what your friends gonna think. Even, he cheated on you and you say, you tell your friends, you scared of what they gonna think. They gonna think you stupid, but you should have told them your business. And that's where a lot of that comes into play, because we live for the internet and we are validated through social media. And so, that's one of the things, even with dating in the pandemic, my joke was, is you going to come out of the pandemic? Well, it wasn't no joke. It was a reality. I probably said it jokingly, but are you going to come out the pandemic with the people that you went in the pandemic with? When it started with, the dude that couldn't stay away from you, who baby mama was always tripping and he had to leave the house. And, it was so bad. Is that still going to be your boo when this pandemic is over? Because he was lying. She wasn't treating him bad, or, he couldn't, or the car wasn't his. That Altima was hers. You really think that he bought a white Altima with a pink steering wheel cover? No, he did not. So, so you know what I'm saying? So now is he
the license plate say juicy.
Girl, I'm gonna have to drink
with eyelashes. He bought the car like that. It was a good deal, cash car. No, so is that still your boo? Is that still your guy? You got to, in this pandemic and dating, you got to see, oh, I am a side chick. Oh, I am his friend with benefit. That's not my real best friend. We just said we was best friends. So, and you gotta kind of go through all of that. So this has been a wake up call in the pandemic, because you got to do a whole lot of self-evaluation. Just like, am I the one that was keeping this dating experience going? Like, do he really got to have this thing? Or is it just because I'm calling to let him know that he can have it, that he's always coming back? Oh.
Yeah, I love the fact that you said that, because I could share a personal story. Okay, first of all, I have been dating, but I always let it be known. First of all, I'm not going to jump into bed with you, because I don't take that lightly. And if it's trash, I'm going to have an attitude. So I need to get to know you first, because I don't believe in bad sex. So I can tell through a conversation with a man whether or not his sex is trash. I can already tell. First of all, if you talk over me, you ain't no good in bed. If you don't stick to the subject we're talking about, you veering all off to the left, you ain't no good in bed. So I need to know these things before I jump into bed. So that's one of my ground rules. The other ground rule I have is, if you can't be supportive, and if you can't return phone calls, and if you can't pursue, bye-bye, because I'm not going to chase. I never chase. And so I led off with those ground rules. And I was saying this on another show we had. The last ground rule I had was, if I'm seeing you, if I'm dating you, understand I'm single until I'm married. I'm
That's
not,
Girl,
I'm not one of those women
thing with
that you
marriage,
gonna
right?
play these games with and act like you gonna take me off the market, but you're really not committed to me. No, boo boo, I'm single until we get some papers. So, with that being said, I like what you said about the calling and are you the one keeping it alive? Because it actually happened to me. So, one of my exes came out of the woodwork saying, I just understood through this pandemic that I just without you. I want us to make this work this time. We are good together. I don't know what was wrong with me, and let's work on our forever. I said, okay. We can work on our forever. Understand though, I keep my options open. I keep my choices open, and I date. I ain't having sex with nobody, but we can talk, and that means you either, because I need to establish where we're going with this. So it was like, ugh, how that's gonna work? And we trying to build forever, but we not having sex. Well, it's gonna have to work. Let's figure this out. Okay, well, let's try it. I noticed that in the first few days, it was all this communication and I'm buying stuff. And I could anything even mention that I want. There it is, he got it. And I was like, okay, I ain't mad because I do want it. But then it was all this communication, talking all the time, texting all the time, checking on me. And out of the blue, it just stopped. So to me, I was like, okay, bye. Because I'm cool because I already had other options anyway. That I was already, on the bench. Hey, so who's next? So it wasn't no problem for me. But the problem came in 2 weeks later when you call and say, what happened? I guess you gave up on us. Did you call? Did you text? Did you check on me? Check your phone. It's been 2 weeks since the last thing you said to me. So his thing was, well, it's been 2 weeks since you said the last thing to me. My thing is, you came to me as
Right.
an ex saying you wanted me back. Now, as a coach, as a life coach, Coach Vette, what do you say about that situation?
well, he probably knows you. And in that instance, he was trying to see, he was putting feelers out there to see if you were going to pick up the pattern that you all had originally from where y'all left off. Because the thing about an ex is a lot of exes can call you back because you may be that forgiving person or y'all didn't have a fallout. And because you walked away gracefully, and with no disagreement, no violence, no bust, no windows out, no cars. They like, oh well, I ain't really never did nothing to her anyway, because you was so understanding. They don't realize that there was hurt, and him coming back was just seeing if we just go pick up from where we left off. And a lot of times men don't understand that we don't pick up from where we left off. We like to start over, and that's what get lost in translation. And so, y'all probably did the calling, a couple days here. I want you so, hey, beautiful, I love you, I miss you. Oh, okay, yeah, let's go get this, let's go get that. And then one of them other people that he was talking to was like, you gonna come spend the night? Because he didn't want to be alone in the pandemic and he wanted some coochie.
Right.
And because he wanted some coochie, he started reaching out to the coochie people, to the people who he want to smash again in case the world come to an end.
Yes.
You just happened to be one of them. So, and because you were one of the lucky contestants on Let's Get This Coochie Tonight.
Yes.
They only got a certain amount of time that they gonna put into you before it's like, okay, yeah, this ain't really worth it. And then even in that, he might have started to remember, oh yeah, now I remember why I didn't want her. And so it's a good thing. I like to look at the lesson in everything is you left me alone for 2 weeks because you were trying to explore whatever, and then you was like, nah, but watch this, y'all didn't fall out. Y'all didn't have no disagreement. Y'all just stopped talking for a couple of weeks. So let me call back and let's pick up from where we left off 2 weeks ago because we ain't had no disagreement. I mean, we was cool. We just kind of lost touch them a couple of weeks. And they may say, oh, y'all give us a hard time. But, men are looking for certain things for a woman to do. How did they always say, how you know she was going to be the one that you married? And a lot of men say, I knew from the first day I met her. But how did you know? And they already know. It doesn't take them a long time to figure it out. Or you the one, or you just in the meantime. And a lot of times we are in the meantime, and they show us that we are in the meantime, and we still give our hearts to the in the meantime. But if you get smart, young ladies and gentlemen, and stop giving your hearts in the meantime, stop ignoring those red flags, stop compromising on this list that you had made that you're not using anyway, just tear that whole thing up and don't worry about what your perfect and all of this is going to be, and then put down some ground rules just based off of you are in life, and you won't have to deal with all of this broken heart, because we're so quick, because we want to be loved, ladies. We so quick to give our hearts. Men give their hearts, but they're usually 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. By that time, they didn't have their heart broken. Some girl came along, did something to them, broke their heart, and it's always a girl that turned the good boy bad. And that's the truth. I don't care who disagree with me. We can argue about it. But so, when that happens, they grow up, and then, they decide. Some of them, men don't usually start out womanizers unless they daddy was, or their uncles, and they just like, I'm gonna be a player, I'm gonna have them all. But most men, they want to love somebody, but they end up getting hurt, and then they start to treat the women bad. But we get to this age that we are now. Most men are either they are been married all this time. Now they go into the second phase of life, or they've never been married and they want to be married, but they've never lived on their own. They've always lived with somebody, and so we run it. So we run into that part, of the dating, of the settling, of the list having, and then we going into a hole, because I'm about to go somewhere all the way over to somebody else.
Well, I'm glad that you said that, because that's exactly how I felt like it was. And that's exactly what I said to him in this last conversation. I said, you didn't want me. You just wanted to see what I was going to do. You just wanted to deal with me when you got bored. You wanted something to do. Somebody when you was lonely. Somebody when you didn't have nobody else. But you don't want me. Because if you wanted me, you wouldn't have let 2 weeks go by without talking to me, especially if you came back to me. I did not come back to you. So I'm glad you said that, because that's exactly the way I interpret it. And I'm not in denial about the fact that men do that, because guess what? We do it too. When we get somebody that we know may be good for good maintenance man, if I get bored, I know who to call, just like they do.
That part, hey! Okay, I'm sorry.
I was glad that I was not in denial about that. I said to him, you don't want me. You just want somebody when you bored, lonely, or you ain't got nothing to do, and it will not be me, because I need more than that. I want more than that, and I deserve more than that. Right. And that was the end of that whole situation. And I was very proud of myself, because normally I would just not answer the phone. I wouldn't tell him why. But this time I was like, I'm going to let him understand why. Because you're not getting ready to play with my emotions. You need to understand that I know what you're doing. You really don't want me. You just want somebody to pick up and put down when you get good and ready, and that's not going to be me.
Right.
So, I mean, I would encourage other women, when you feel these things and when you know these things, I feel like you should say it. You should speak up. You shouldn't be scared to tell them, like, the vibes you get off of them. Right. I told another guy, like, I'm getting the vibe off you that you want stability, because you know I'm stable. I'm a stable person. I got my life together to a degree. And you want some stability because your life in shambles. But guess what? It ain't gonna be me.
Right. I know you take a. Do we need to take a break or anything?
Yeah, in about 15 minutes.
Okay. Mervetta, would you like to stay with us and continue this conversation?
Sure. Let's go for it. You better come back with because we can make the hour two be real good.
Well, I
Yeah,
want to
that's
say
good.
hour one has been very good. Hour one has been very good because actually we are coming up on an hour, 54 minutes, but hour one has been very good. I really like the points you brought out about men having their heart broken and never really healing from what happened to them in their teens and 20s. Because I think a lot of times we as women don't understand that because we get over stuff a little quicker, I think. I think, in my opinion, we could just go and roll with it and get back up there and keep trying. But sometimes it takes men a little longer to get past those heartaches. And by the time they get to us, it's almost a done deal, you
Right.
know. But so in the second hour, I want to talk about that. But I don't know if y'all caught my show about No More Black Widows. I do want to get Coach Vette's opinion on that because that's a series that I'm doing on my other show about Black Widow syndrome. So we're going to talk about that a little bit in the second
Mm.
hour because that's something that I learned about myself during the pandemic. That I, have a trail of bodies in my past. I
All right.
You probably want to
And
do
look at here.
2 hour special for that, and the book will shall
Right.
be released.
About to get it in.
Yes, so
Oh,
I would love to hear your thoughts, especially from a life coach standpoint, because I know there are some women out there just like me who had that Black Widow syndrome where you get with somebody, you lure them into your web because you're very seductive, but the moment you know you got them, you kill them, you bite them, you devour them, you eat them whole, basically. And you move on to the next victim. So I would love to hear your take on that. And everybody that's tuned in with us, we are going to take a short break, but we will be right back. So don't go anywhere. We're coming right back with Lip Service with Lisa and Shareece with Coach Vette. And we'll see you in a minute.